Hey everybody, this is Paul from the Negative to Positive Show. And I didn't have an intro for Gil and Ricardo, so I thought I'd create one. Gil, he is a retired correctional officer. He has 30 plus years with that. And we have Ricardo. Ricardo is a retired firefighter, and he did over 30 years with that. We talked about being elders. We talked about being parents. We talked about being children. And we talked about parenting with our children. So without further ado, here's Gil and here's Ricardo.
Well, I'm going to ask you, so in your profession, do you guys end up in a lot of domestic violence and things like that? Because I know sometimes you guys have to go with the EMTs and the police. What did you think as you're watching that? Was it like, that's not me, or that is us?
Watching that or seeing that or going to those scenes, it was like almost a thing of, okay, this is where I hope I never have to be here in this situation, and I know that what I'm seeing I want to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
So you tend to avoid it at all costs. But you also see the relationship of how they got there, of the lack of structure, leadership, of somebody in their life telling them that that's not the way it is. Because we would see guys or families where you could tell that the husband or the wife, their background, they saw that in their family, so that's what they continue to do. That the man was his father was abusive to the mother, and as they grow up now, he's an abuser. Maybe not as bad. Well, at least I don't punch her, or at least I don't slam her head against the wall.
At least I don't.
But verbal abuse.
Yes.
And I heard that the study is that you could get over physical abuse much quicker than you can
Absolutely
verbal or mental abuse.
Yes.
And a lot of times it starts out with just a little incident, and it grows and grows and grows, and at times where it gets to a point where the abuser feels, well, I'll take it to the next step, and that's when it becomes physical. But yeah, you see it, and you could tell, and you could look at it and see the trail of how they got there. But then what made it even worse was to see the little kids
watching that.
To see that,
I was one of those kids watching my mom get beat for like 7 years and feeling hopeless, and she doesn't want us to do anything about it. And the problem with that is you don't have a conflict resolution. You have the only one they gave you. That's it. This is what we do when
that is conflict.
When things,
that's what you feel.
Yeah, this is when it pops off.
That's what you see.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
And the redirection. My ex, she redirected me. Well, she gave me a 2-piece. It had redirected me, but it made me say, "This is not how I want our problem solving to be." And I don't know what it takes to have that moment of clarity that says, "I don't want to do what they gave me." And before I get to see you, because you show up, then they end up seeing you. And how do we get them to before you and definitely not see you?
Sure.
And I think that's where we're at, because they're still doing the toxic battering of each other, and women are just as active in it now, because I see videos of women dog walking men because something they saw from their childhood. You're not going to do me like what was done to my mom, or things like that. But I just know we need to find another way. And I think from my idea is that if dads were to say, that's not true conflict resolution, that's fighting, that's abuse, and have a conversation about it, not that day. And I think one of our problems is we're talking that day of, not prior to. And if we did more talking prior to, we would have better results.
Sure.
And because if you don't tell the story, then no one knows it.
Right.
And I think that's where the shame comes in, at They don't want to talk about the shame that has been created that makes it like a brick wall when it's actually invisible and you can walk through it, because it's supposed to help somebody else. That's why you tell. People keep thanking me for being transparent and things like that, but I just want this to be better. You know, I don't want the thank yous. What I want is I want better families.
Sure.
Because when my grandkids become men, I don't want them to meet you. I want them to be you, but I don't want them to meet you. Because when they meet you, that's a spiraling. You seen some people going in there for 2 years and they end up with 20 or they end up dead.
That's right.
And that's scary.
That's right.
And you seen them come back.
Recidivism.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a friend who talked to his son and told his son, "Listen, don't hang out at the corner with them dudes, because you know what them dudes are doing, man."
Yeah.
But he says, "Yeah, but that's my cousins, you know, and that's who my friends are." And I mean, it wasn't even 2 weeks later, man. Sure enough, they came around picking up everybody, and he got in. You going with him too? You hear it right. And so they got him in jail, and he was only supposed to be there for 2 weeks or something like that. He spent about 7 years.
Wow. Altercation after
Because
altercation.
Altercation, and then when he was being good and he had good behavior, and someone found out he was coming out and started something, knew he was a hothead,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, he got another.
You know whatever happened to him?
He eventually came out of prison. Met a lady that cared for him, you know, that was good to him, and that was the last I heard of him. You know, I know he had some difficulties because he had some social problems because he didn't learn them, you know, because he was in the clink learning other things other than how to be a stand-up guy and how to be a father and how to be a husband and how to be a boyfriend, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he was learning life on the fly.
Yeah.
By that time, his dad passed away a little bit, just about a year or two after he came out. You know.
Wow.
So he didn't have that chance to have that influence up until that time, and I'm hoping that he did learn from his dad those little bit that he was able to. But I know that a big part of it, which is when you're in your teens to when you're in your 20s, that you learn a lot of stuff of how to be and how not to be. The only thing he was learning was, how to be indifferent.
Wow.
From the darkness we rise up, ever look back, shattering barriers, breaking through every wall. No more doubts, we stand tall and proudly call the strength within us, the fire that never dies. Fueling our dreams, reaching for the skies.